So we're live on the YouTube now. So just kind of waiting for whenever you want me to start. Let me go ahead and give you your permission.
What up?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, YouTube? If you're there, we'll start the show here soon. Up in here.
Up in here.
Game's still going?
Just ended.
Did they win?
They sure did. So we're live on the YouTube now. Just kind of waiting for you want me to start. Let me go ahead
Who are they interviewing after the game?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, YouTube? If you're there,
Probably Joey, wasn't it?
we'll start the show here soon. Oh, I gotta mute my YouTubes.
I
we
don't
got a-
think so, but
We got a viewer. We got a viewer.
they took them out.
What up?
What's up, Senor Fluffy?
He's
Fired up.
probably already showered and at the hotel.
It's like, yeah, you can't do two days in a row. I can't be the post game interview. Nick, did your permission pop up that you can record the local file?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured I'd wait to
yeah, no sweat.
till we're gonna go live on the show. Oh, I'm gonna hear what Joey's got to say here. Sorry.
Ha!
Joey, these numbers are crazy.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Career back-to-back multi-home run games. Your last 7 hits are 7
That's
home
good.
runs.
I can hear it.
5 straight games with a home run put you in elite Reds company. Even more elite is 7 home runs in 5 games. Only your buddy Jay Bruce and Johnny Bench have done that.
Shout out Jay Bruce, by the
I
way.
got to get that in there. What does this stretch feel like right now?
It's funny, when I played with Jay Bruce, he had a little stretch like this, and he hit a bunch of homers, and I asked him, what are you doing? What are you doing right now with all these homers? Everything you hit is a homer. And he's like, I don't know, I just got it. And, I guess I'm channeling my inner Jay Bruce right now.
When you've had stretches like this, I mean, I've covered your whole career. You've had stretches of hitting the ball hard. Where does this compare to other stretches you've had in your career?
It's certainly been good. You know, I was frustrated early in the season. I was hoping to play well, and it's good that I feel like I'm trending in the right direction. And enough about me. I guess you got to speak about me, but I'm happy we bounced back after that rough first game and 1-2. I mean, we've got to get on a hot stretch to catch these Brewers, and as a collective, as an entire unit, we need to play good baseball. We need to play it fast. I know the Reds fans at home love supporting an individual, but they come and they stay for the team, and we've got to do it as a group. So it was a really good team win tonight for sure.
One more question about you, if I may. After your first home run, you put up one finger, seemingly saying that's one, and you were saying it to someone in the crowd. Were you predicting a multi-home run game tonight?
No, a friend of mine, a group of people came to the game tonight, and a boy told me I was going to get 4 hits tonight, and I didn't get 4 hits, but I ended up hitting a second home run that he and I were bantering about mid at bat, and that was a real treat. So it was I was pointing to him actually.
Well, that's awesome. I think 2 home runs trumps 4 hits. Just my opinion.
Oh, no. You've never gotten 4 hits before, Jim. 4 hits are the best.
1 hit in the major
4
leagues.
hits.
Well, okay.
Well, 4, as someone that has the experience, 4 is better than 2 homers. 4 hits are better than 2, unless it's 4 singles. You know what I mean? Like 4 singles and 2 homers. It's like, I'd rather
God,
have 2 homers.
Cincinnati people just went, well, he's got to be driving in runs.
Better. If it's like a triple and 3 singles, then that's better. But if it's 4 singles or 3 singles and 1 double, then I don't know.
Well, Votto are done deal. 4 hits better than 2 home runs.
Votto knows WRC plus, baby.
3 relievers.
Go take a fucking shower and beat it, Joey.
Does that energize a clubhouse and a team?
Certainly. More talent is good, and we've added more talent, so we've got to chase down a team ahead of us, and we've got to do it with urgency. So hopefully that's they're going to be able to help us. So yeah.
I'm me. Why would I want to be anyone else? Joey Votto, you keep being you.
Jim Day. Jim Day. Have a great day, Jim Day.
Thank you,
Is it a
Jim.
good day or a Jim Day?
You know what? Channeling your inner
That's
Suarez there. There you
That's
go.
right.
Joey,
Suarez. Thank you.
Congrats on the win and a couple of knocks. That is Joey Votto. Always a treat. JV, number 19.
All right, here he is.
I started watching that Ted Lasso today. Saw the first 2 episodes.
Oh, did you?
Just had to.
Yeah.
I got to be in on the party. I got to know the jokes.
I know. I got to get Apple TV. It's like the one streaming service I don't have.
The All-Star jersey. Let's go.
I like it. What's up, man?
Nice.
What's up, guys? I had it for the stream. I had to bring it out. I knew that there were going to be Cubs fans in there, so I wanted to make sure that they knew that we had some starting outfielders in there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I am all here for this.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I know Nick. What's up, Nick? So
up, Ryan?
Tim, how you doing,
Yeah.
Tim? Nice to
I'm-
meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too, man.
And Carlos, what's up, Carlos? How you doing?
How are you? Nice to meet you, man.
Cool.
So we got some people actually watching live. We just went ahead and started the live stream. So just, make sure everyone can jump right on after the game ended. Do you have a time limit you want to stay on? We usually go about an hour. I don't know if Tim falls asleep. It's a little past his bedtime.
It is past my bedtime.
Yeah, I'm cool with whatever, man. An hour should be fine. These usually feel like they fly by anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, if you get
Especially
sick
when
of
they
us,
win.
just let me know. So what we'll do, Ryan, is
Give him a safe word.
we're
He needs a safe word.
gonna start the show like we start like a podcast, and then we'll just jump right in. Okay.
Shoot the
Okay.
shit.
sounds
right.
good.
Let me hit record so we don't screw this up. Riveting television, those on YouTube.
What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday night, 9 minutes until Thursday. You know what that means. Another fantastic edition of Late Night Reds Talk, talking about Joey Votto and those Cincinnati Reds. I am Tim Daniel, as always, with our excellent crew, Mr. Nick Kirby himself. What's up, buddy?
Mr.
about those
Steal
Reds?
Your girl.
Mr.
about those
Steal It,
Reds?
Your girl.
Oh no.
Oh, man. Also joining us, as always, former big league pitcher himself, Mr. Carlos Guevara. What's going on, my man?
But it's getting late, but I don't mind staying up after W's like this.
Aren't you on vacation anyway?
I am, but it's
And excited to have our guest on, the newest Twitch affiliate, Chucky rocking his brother's All-Star Game jersey. This is Mr. Ryan Castellanos. Ryan, welcome to your first episode being a guest on Late Night Reds Talk. Happy to have you, man.
Thank you, guys. Happy to be here. And Twitch affiliate sounds way cooler than what it actually is. So
Yes, it does.
yeah, it's basically just Twitch saying we are recognizing that you're a real person and you're not a bot, and we'll give you affiliate status. So I'm happy to have reached that. And
Well,
gotta
now-
start somewhere.
there's no name on the back. Because MLB doesn't give us last names or banners, so we're just working with what we got here, I guess.
Just lucky to be there, huh?
Yeah. But we got this on right here, so repping it.
I have to say, it looks way better like on somebody than it did in the photos. Like, I'm pro in the All-Star Game, wear your team's jersey, but I do like how it looks when you see people actually wearing it. But God, they like the promo images that came out. I was like, I'm out. I mean, it's like, I'm out.
I'm actually not the biggest fan of them. I like the jerseys that open. I'm not a huge fan of these. And it's actually interesting because I found this out when we were buying the jerseys, but you know how they had the quick switch from Atlanta to Denver. So they had all their marketing stuff already set for Atlanta. So this right here, this like blue design that you see right here is actually the Georgia State flower. And and they just sent it out to Denver because everything was already set up there. So just you could imagine how like crazy that was to try to switch everything real quick last minute. So
Yeah.
That's why the Hank Aaron thing wasn't just because of his passing, but it was because the game was supposed to be in Atlanta, wasn't it? Why everyone wore 44 at All-Star Workout Day?
probably, but I think they probably would have done something like that regardless
Right.
of that, just because of who Hank Aaron was. And I'm sure, everybody was very proud to be wearing 44 for that game. So they probably would have done it either way. But yeah, it is strange how, it kind of just switched over and then they just kind of kept everything the way it was.
Yeah, it was definitely wild. So for those of you who are just checking us out and don't follow Ryan on Twitter, he is, an elite Reds Twitter follow right now. Whether he's joking with Cardinals and Cub fans or he's running his Twitch stream on a nightly basis during the games. Ryan's pretty involved. He's done a lot of Reds podcasts now. I saw that you were on Part of the Punctuation recently talking about you were coming up on your first Skyline chili experience.
Yeah.
But Carlos here just loves Skyline. Like he can't get enough of it. So
I tried it twice, guys. I tried it twice.
So
you can't get enough of it. You've only tried it twice.
No, he's being sarcastic. I don't like it.
Oh, well, tell me about it. Why not? You give me a reason.
It's just
Because he's evil.
I was expecting chili, and it's not chili. It's a topping. It's like, just like, I don't know, just a wet topping.
I hope the Reds win the
It's
wild.
not, it's way better. It's way better on the hot dog than it is on spaghetti for some weird reason.
So say you're not a real Reds fan without saying you're not a real Reds fan, man.
Boom.
Hey, the local beer's good.
Oh yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. So
Oh yeah. So there's obviously a lot we would kind of want to just like shoot the shit and talk about with you, obviously. And I think one of the things that's really been pretty cool about your family in Cincinnati is seeing your nephew Liam get a lot of recognition for the shirt that Nick wore at the All-Star game was really cool. But where did his Blink-182 fandom come from? Because, younger kids, that's pretty cool to know. Like I've seen Blink in concert my share of times, but I'm 32. So when younger kids are like singing Blink-182 songs, that's pretty exciting for me.
I'm going to be dead honest with you. I don't know. I don't even know the lyrics of the song that he's that he was singing. The only Blink-182 song I know is the In Too Deep. And that's because it was the song from the Cheaper by the Dozen movie. So I really don't know. I think that might have been like a Winker thing, but I was able to catch them singing it again in the bus on the way back from the Home Run Derby. And Kevin Gossman got in on it too. So I got to see him do it, but I don't know the lyrics and I don't know where it came from. I don't think Nick listens to that either. So that might have just been a Winker thing that kind of Liam caught up with, or I don't know the backstory, but I have seen the videos and it's awesome.
I mean, Liam's giving his dad a run for money for Castellanos of the Year. I mean, he's having a pretty good run so far.
There's no competition. If anything, me and Nick compete for whatever's left of second place. Liam is the top spot guaranteed because he is a philanthropist, an artist, and an entrepreneur, and donates to charity. And he hasn't even turned 8 yet.
That was the coolest part, that he got to pick his own charity. That's awesome.
Yeah. They gave him a list. I think it was about 10. And he was going through the charities. They kind of explained to him what each of them did. And he picked the Dragonfly charity, which I believe does pediatric brain cancer. And I don't think it's called Dragonfly Charity. I think it's called Dragonfly Foundation. I just want to make sure I get it right. But I think he ended up picking that name because it has dragon in it. And Nick and Liam are in the midst of watching Dragon Ball Z. So I think that might have been a reason why he picked it.
I figured it was either that or Game of Thrones. It's normally the dragon part.
I don't think he's old enough to watch Game of Thrones.
Probably not.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Me
you guys.
neither. Me neither.
I need to get on it. Yeah.
I tried like 2 episodes. I shouldn't say I've never watched it. Then I tried like the first season because my girlfriend at the time was really into it. And I was like, sorry, I can't get into it. That's like up my alley, but yeah, couldn't do it.
Really? Because it's up my alley too. And I haven't gotten into it because I don't want to create like a 3-month black hole in my life where I do nothing That happened to me with Breaking Bad. It was bad
Yes.
because
Yes.
Breaking Bad is 7 seasons long, and I could not go to class in college for like 3 weeks. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. I did my homework. Okay, I did my homework.
We know they just put the teaser out that Dexter's coming back, and that was like my alley. I was into that for a pretty bad while too. So that's after those last 2 seasons, they definitely need to do a lot of remakes for that. So I'm excited for that as well. So yeah, man, like you've obviously gotten pretty big at interacting with Reds fans on social media. You shouted us out for the John Sadak episodes. We definitely appreciate that. How are you liking, this fan base so far, especially compared to when your brothers with the Cubs, with the Tigers?
I love it, man. It really has been a breath of fresh air because I had posted something about it on Twitter. I think it was yesterday about how when people look at Cincinnati, they see small market team. From the outside looking in, it's easy to say like, they're who really cares about the Reds? That they're not, they're not one of the big market teams. They don't have all like the pull that all the other teams do. But if you really come and immerse yourselves here, you really learn that not only is it one of the richest, cities in terms of history of baseball, but these fans, they know so much about it. They care so much about it. And it's just one of those cities that they do have a very vocal, interactive fan base, but there's also this dormant feeling of the city where it'll just explode if the team gets to the playoffs, makes some noise, and I can feel it bubbling and I want it to come into fruition. So I would want nothing more than for this team to get a good run, make the playoffs, and have some success in the playoffs and really feel the full buzz of what Cincinnati baseball fans have to offer. Because you get a little bit of taste of it right now, or at least I have, and it's kind of intoxicating because being a Dolphins fan, I can kind of relate to having a city with such a rich history for a sports team, but having that been feeling like it had to have been subdued due to, maybe past struggles or different decisions, in seasons of late. But I really just appreciate the fans, the passion that they show, obviously the support that they showed for me, Nick, and my family. And comparing it to the Cubs fan base, I mean, I was completely blown away by not only the sheer numbers of the Cubs fan base, but also their passion as well. And I was honestly expecting to have a drop off coming to Cincinnati. And if anything, it increased because the fans here are so passionate. And I think the difference between here and Chicago is they are so hungry. They are so hungry to win. And that's all they care about. And when you have players like Nick and like Winker and Votto, especially recently, not just his numbers, but I'm talking about showing passion on the field and just really, showing to the fans that all they care about is winning and putting on a good show for the city and putting it out on the field. That is what it's all about. And that is really what brings the joy of what I have for baseball out. And I express it to everybody, through Twitter, through my streams, anytime I meet them, because I love fostering that energy and that love for the game into fun and into, passion. And Cincinnati offers that 100% tenfold. And I shine light on it because I want people to see that from the outside. I feel like unless you're here and immersed in it, it's easy to overlook Cincinnati as a baseball town, which I think it is. I mean, you guys could probably tell me that it's a football town, but I think it's a baseball town.
It's definitely a
Baseball town.
Yeah,
Baseball town.
Baseball town.
Get out of here.
I don't know if you've
Get outta
heard
here.
about the
Okay.
NFL team in Cincinnati. It's brutal.
I know about the Bungles.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. But yeah, I appreciate that you say that because it's kind of the thing where like I feel like with Cubs fans, it's like, well, Bill Murray's at every game, CM Punk's really popular. It's like, yeah, but we got Charlie Sheen for supporting the Reds, so we got that going for us.
Yeah.
On the field, though, obviously picking up some big wins here. I know Nick's been out for a little while, but what have you what's kind of jumped out to you from the performance? Especially, I mean, I know Votto's the big one this week alone. 5 of 10 at the plate this week with 5 homers is pretty awesome. But seeing this team kind of keep afloat, obviously making some moves finally, get some more arms in the bullpen. What's kind of jumped out to you as far as what the Reds ball club has been able to do throughout this season?
Well, I've talked about the rookies a lot. India's been so impressive. I'll talk about him first before I go to the other rookies. I know that Jeff over at the Pardon the Punctuation podcast kept explaining to me how the leadoff hitter for years here has been basically by committee, and the leadoff hitter has been something that's been elusive to this front office. And to be able to fill that role with not only a good player, but a rookie at that, and to have him, put up the numbers and compete the way that he has, that's got to be such a breath of fresh air for, this front office and the fan base. And what he's doing as a rookie is really, really, really impressive. That's not normal for what rookies to do, to be putting up 400 on base percentage, to be able to have the back control that he does, to be able to take the tough pitches that he does, and just to be able to know what his role is. He's not going up there trying to hit the crap out of the ball. He's going up there to try to find a way to get on base. And I feel like sometimes in today's game, that's lost in a lot of players. And Stevenson, I mean, he's the way that he covers the plate, the way that he is calm in the toughest moments. I mean, Nick's talked about it in some of his interviews. Stevenson's demeanor is not like a rookie at all. His calmness, the presence that he has in those clutch situations, that was something that Nick said he had to learn, to develop over time. And it took him a couple seasons to be able to do it. So when you see Stevenson come and do it immediately and consistently give you that clutch at bat that usually is required of a veteran, that is also very impressive and not normal for a rookie to do. To go on with somebody else who's been very impressive, who I am a 100% stand for, is Kyle Farmer. I think Kyle Farmer single-handedly kept this infield together because of the injuries to Moose, the injuries to Senzel. The fact that you can put him in at shortstop and you can get very good defense from him, it doesn't even matter what he does at the plate, because shortstop is a defensively premium position. And when you have a team like the Reds, who are amongst the top in the National League in a lot of offensive categories, and you can have a guy like Farmer who you can stick there every day and be dependent on to give you good defense, that is completely invaluable. And I would really wonder where we would be right now without Farmer at short, especially with the injuries that we've had. And obviously Gino being at short, that was kind of an experiment that we've kind of gotten away from. So really ask yourself, where would we be right now without Farmer?
Yeah,
Nick,
that's a good point.
Nick, I know you're very pro.
He's done well.
Farmer.
He's done well as of late, but I don't think it's a top priority to go get a shortstop right now. I was looking at Trevor Story's numbers, especially like his splits. That's somebody who's being talked about a lot, and I don't know if that's worth it right now at this point. It's almost like a gamble, like maybe go fifth starter, another dominant reliever over that. I mean, like you said, I mean, usually it's catcher and shortstop where you can be okay. Just give me something defensively. Exactly. And their catchers are killing it offensively. So you can take the average hitter or slightly below average at shortstop from what he's been so far. But I mean, hopefully he keeps moving the way he is right now.
Yeah, but remember the batting average in the league is low. So his average is up to 240 something right now.
Yeah.
And today's 244 was 5 years ago 285. So he's already creeping up there in terms of average. But once again, that's not the value that he's bringing to this team. So anything that he does offensively, I think is just icing on the cake. And remember, he's doing this all while injured, because his dream was to be a shortstop in major leagues, and the Dodgers weren't having any of that. They wanted him to be a catcher. So he tooled his body to be a catcher. And then now that he's sniffing the opportunity to be a shortstop, he's completely taken that and run with it. I read reports about how he lost all this weight. He became, in the best shape of his life. And now he's taking his one opportunity that he has to be a starting shortstop for a team. And he is literally giving this team everything they could have hoped for. And I would say a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, Kyle Farmer is by far the best shortstop option right now for the Reds. He turned what was an absolute, Ryan, you said a very nice, it was a disaster with Suarez.
It was an experiment.
Suarez was like, we're talking, I think it was like minus 12 outs above average. And that was like in less than half the time that Farmer has played, and Farmer's +3 right now. Mm-hmm. He just completely turned what was an absolute disaster into at least I think he's been probably about a league average shortstop, but for a guy that's a catcher, that's incredibly impressive. I don't know. I would caution people not to think that what Kyle Farmer's done in July is going to continue. He's had a good season. He's got a 93 weighted runs created plus. That's 7% below league average for a shortstop. That's good. I don't know. He definitely could play every day against left-handed pitching. He has really good splits against left-handed pitching, but against right-handed pitching throughout his career, I don't know. The Reds need to improve. Remember, they're in a 7-game hole right now. So right. Where it really at this point is, where can you improve? And what are the options? I think Trevor Story is a massive upgrade. I don't really care what his numbers say this year.
You can't just use Kyle Farmer's numbers against him and then not use Trevor Story's against him.
I was using Kyle Farmer's career numbers against him. And
he's never played every day.
Who would you bet? Who would you bet on? Who would you bet on to have better overall numbers from August 1st to the end of the year? That's how you have to view it.
Gamble, Nick.
But that's how you have to view it.
So I would agree with you that I even though I'm sitting here saying that Kyle Farmer needs to be appreciated more, I'm not saying that Trevor Story wouldn't be an upgrade. I'm not saying Trey Turner wouldn't be an upgrade. Of course they would. But what I am saying is that if we're going to spend more resources to upgrade this team, I don't think that that's the spot that we need. Because if you think about it, we're having Senzel coming back. We're having Moustakas come back. We're probably already going to have to do a by committee rotation. I'm assuming we're going to leave Jonathan India playing every day. I'm assuming we're going to want Votto in there every day. So if Moustakas is playing every day, that means that Gino's on the bench or Farmer's on the bench. And if Farmer's not playing shortstop, who's going to play shortstop? And by adding another player, let's say Story or Trey Turner, yeah, that would give us a very good shortstop to play every day. But with the fact that we're already putting up, I would say, very good offensive numbers, and we've shown that despite Farmer, even with Farmer's offensive numbers or not, we're going to be able to put up runs. If we were to go out and spend more resources to get another piece, I would 100% have it be pitching, whether it's another starting pitcher or another piece in the bullpen. You can't guarantee that Sims or Antone are both going to be back and healthy for the stretch. You can't guarantee that all three of these new pitchers that we got are going to work out and be very good pieces. Every single competing team that wants to win, no matter how good they are, they can always use pitching, but not every team needs to include more bench players, for the field or for the outfield. We have a log jam of outfielders, and once everybody gets back, we'll have a log jam of infielders, and we could always use pitching. So that's just where I think we should use the resources. If we were to go out and get a shortstop, I wouldn't be upset about it, but I do think that Farmer has at least shown enough that we can ride with him as our starting shortstop.
I
Well,
saw
let me-
that today they checked in on Alberto Mondesi, and I was like, yeah, that sounds great, but like, is he ever going to play like a regular season, like fully ever?
I don't want the other one. I want Lopez. If they
Yeah.
going to
same.
the Royals. I mean, like, I think Kyle Farmer has proven to this point he can hit left-handed pitching. Like, I would almost platoon him with Moustakas if Moustakas came back to keep Moustakas healthy. Like, that's what I think of Kyle Farmer. I don't want to, like, Kyle Farmer's done an incredible job. I just they're 7 games back. They got to find ways to improve. If they can go out and get a front line starter and make that their fill in their fifth starter, that's a great way to improve. If they could go out and get a center fielder, like if Byron Bucks came available, yeah, sure, the Reds have good options in center field, but I think they remember they're in a 7-game hole. They've got to do more than just enough. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think they need to improve. It's where can you improve with the best value without tanking your future? At this point. So I don't know. It just whatever's available.
I would agree with that. 7 games is, at this point of the season, 7 games is just about the point where you're like, okay, we need to start making moves now. And with that being said, I do think we made the most important moves that we needed. Because not only are getting these fresh arms in the bullpen gonna, be helpful for us because they're good pitchers, but it's also gonna make it so we don't have to use our most reliable relievers as much as we've had. So that's gonna be a huge boost to our team. If we could get another starter, I think that would be a huge boost in the rotation. A 7 games being a lot, if we could get another big bat, that would be good. But would you say in response to that, we would have to trade one of our major league bench players?
Probably not. The Reds don't really have a lot of major league contracts that I think are too attractive for other teams.
What about Naquin?
Outside of India? India's probably the only starter right now that would give you anything of value, and I don't think anyone here wants to trade.
No, he's
Stevenson. Those will be the only 2 that I think have significant value that are like on the active roster. So I think you'd be looking at in your prospect pool. Yeah.
So in the chat, we have Senor Fluffy 33. I want to make sure I gave his screen name a full shout. He said
Yes.
Barrero has played well enough at AA, AAA that would warrant a call up with him over trading for a rental for 2 months. I love what he's doing, but I don't know if I'm there. I still feel like if they can get better. But if Barrero is not a terrible fallback option if that's what it's going to be.
Well, you can't go back if he doesn't perform. That's the deadline. You say, oh well, we'll go with Farmer. Farmer goes back to his career numbers. We call it Barrio. He isn't. As we've seen all year, AAA numbers don't always equate to major league success. We saw with the last pitcher that pitched last night, he had phenomenal numbers in AAA. It doesn't always just translate. I would much prefer, Barrio be an extra guy and not put, the pressure on him, but you also have to remember if Kyle Farmer gets injured, it's Barrio. That's it. Or it's Mike Freeman. Like that's the shortstops. No one's putting Suarez back there. Right. I mean, that's it. So it's not just even necessarily, upgrading. It's also even a little bit of depth.
I can't believe they're wanting more India tweets coming in after he made that charging play from the shortstop position, like in the 7th or 6th inning, whatever it was. I thought they were going to start flowing in for sure.
But everyone could play shortstop.
India for short.
Yeah,
he was a third baseman, right?
Yeah,
earlier in the minors. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a tough transition. Usually you start at short and then you transfer to the other positions. Yeah. I don't really think you go from third to second and then go try out shortstop.
Yeah,
but what do I know? I'm a pitcher. I'm not even an athlete. So
I wish we would have figured that out in March.
Yeah. Well, apparently the Reds whole organization at one time is former third baseman, Senzel, India, Castellanos. It's just kind of it's a trend I'm noticing.
How was Nick's
Moustakis,
glove over at
Yes.
third base?
Was Moustakis really a shortstop at one point?
no chance.
No.
Was he?
Oh, I don't know. I thought someone said Moustakis. I was like,
No, we were talking about third baseman.
Yeah,
oh,
former third
oh.
baseman. They
Yeah.
moved all around the place.
How was Nick at third?
Honestly, growing up, Nick was a shortstop, and he was always really good. He was always like amongst the best defenders on his team. He was an infielder for Team USA when he was 18, when he played with Harper and Machado, and obviously being in the infield for a large part of his minor league career. I think the problem with what happened with Nick at third was he played third for his first year in the minors with the Whitecaps, which was low A. Then he played third in high A. And then once they traded for fielder, Detroit, and then they put Cabrera at third, they basically put him to the outfield. So he started double A in right, which was his first time playing right for half a season. And then he started triple A the next year in left. So he played the full year in triple A at left. And then when he got called up as a September call-up in 2013, I believe, his first big league start was in left. And then after that season ended, they said they were going to put him at third. So he was starting at third base as a 22-year-old, where the last time he played third in any meaningful game was in high A. So the 3 years that he spent playing third, he told me, or he was saying how it was just he had never had time there to get comfortable because there was so many things he was trying to get acclimated to while playing on a team that had all these championship expectations, being in a locker room with so many established, veterans and all that, where he talked about playing, stressed and not comfortable, where at third base, being so close to the hitter. And if you're not loose and you're not comfortable, it's going to be a struggle to play. And I'm not talking about numbers or anything. I'm just talking about how he expressed how he felt. When he did move to the outfield, he said that it just kind of made him relax, just being able to calm down, collect his thoughts. And it really helped his hitting, flourish a little bit at that time. But I have seen Nick play very good third base. I've seen Nick make terrific plays at short. So I know that he has it in him to do that. But if you guys are asking, do I think he can go do that right now? I have no idea. I haven't seen Nick take a ground ball in years. So
we do have another backup shortstop, Kirby.
Well, if it means anything, he is the person usually that they bring in for the fifth infielder. So
I used to when Nick's for last 3 years with the Tigers, I used to always draft him in fantasy baseball because Yahoo gave him like just about every position eligibility. It would be like outfield, third base, second base. I was like, this is perfect. I can play him in the lineup every day in a different spot. Like, always made sure I took him in the middle rounds. And then he obviously blows up and he gets to be like one of the best hitters in baseball. And now I'm like reaching to get him. So
yeah. And I guess his I'm not a big like card collector or anything, but Ed from Pardon the Punctuation was talking about it, that he's been swarming to get Nick's cards now because I guess the prices are shooting up.
I just got a top series 2 from this year that he had autoed.
I don't know anything about the cards or the brands or the series or anything like that. He told me that one had just sold on eBay for like $100 or something. And my response was, is that expensive? Is that a lot for a card? I don't know.
It's a weird market, man. I kind of got into it like during the pandemic, like everyone did, I feel like. And then I kind of like started sticking with it now. My wife wants to kill me because our side room in our basement is just all cards laying everywhere, but
yeah, it's so weird. I was trying to get my 4-year-old son into it. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Like, hey, let's go, Saturday mornings, let's go to Target or whatever and go get a pack and open it up and go through that excitement that I went through. And I see there's like signs saying, baseball cards will no longer be sold just because people go crazy for them. It's wild.
People are legitimately having fist fights in Target parking lots to stand in line to buy baseball cards. Like,
Yeah, I used to get in fights for cards, but that was just Pokemon cards.
like, did you do the Jake Paul? Did you wear your Charizard around your neck?
I actually saw that and I love that so much because those cards are so expensive.
Yes, they are.
Like ridiculously expensive. And I don't think I had any of those, but back in like the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s, I had an entire binder. Each of us, me, my sister, and my brother, we had an entire binder where there was probably like 45, 50, 60 cards, but we would only keep the shiny ones, or they call them the holographics, the rarer ones. And I have no idea how much that binder would have been worth because all those cards are from like the early 2000s, late 1900s. So when we had figured out that all these cards were selling for so much, my mom had went through all of our basement storage and attic storage and everything, and we couldn't find any of them because we thought that we were sitting on a gold mine, but I guess we'll never know.
Senor Fluffy said he bought Nick's first rookie card autograph for $300
Oh my goodness.
for cardboard, man. It's pretty wild.
Hey, Senior Fluffy, man, you're the real MVP. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that's I got lucky pulled that one I got out of a pack. That doesn't happen often. So
Okay.
yeah, it's few and far between. So I kind of want to ask this. I don't know if you know. So I'm a big shoe guy, as you can see behind me. And I noticed with like, because baseball athletes, you don't hear a lot about why they pick the brands and who they wear and whatnot. What was it about is Nick signed with Adidas, and what was it about Adidas necessarily where he's wearing their stuff mostly of anyone?
So he did have he was signed with Adidas. I don't know if he's still signed with Adidas. So I don't want to say that he is now or not, but for the last 3 or 4 years, I believe, he was an Adidas athlete. So he would have, his merchandise sent to him, and he would have kind of like an amount that he would get per year. And obviously he wouldn't use all of that. So every Christmas we would get like Adidas gift cards where he said, use them by January 1st or it's gone. And that would be my favorite day of the year. I would spend it all on shoes because I love the Adidas shoes, like the Ultra Boosts and all that, different colors, different designs. So I'd blow like 85% of the card on shoes. And my brother's like, what? Don't you want to get some clothes or don't you want to dress yourself up a little bit? And I'm like, no, man, I got these Ultra Boosts. I'm good.
I was curious, yeah, because baseball, like, obviously it's talked about all the time with baseball athletes. They aren't marketed like, NBA players with signature sneakers and things like that. Like, if you probably wouldn't know if you didn't watch the games that Joey Votto, is he a Nike athlete or does he just choose to wear Nike, Carlos?
Oh, he's a Nike athlete. If you're wearing something on the field, you're that athlete.
I figured as much, and I know he uses Nikes on My Feet by Mac Miller as his walk-up song, so I'm with it. Yeah, as you can see, I'm as pro Nike as it gets. So.
Yeah, he's been with Nike, I think, pretty much since day one. I think maybe he was with Adidas at the beginning, but yeah, he's been on Nike for a while. He's had me on scholarship. That's been real nice.
Yeah, I can imagine. So let's kind of talk a little bit, dudes. Some trade deadline moves. Obviously, the Reds picking up some guys today. I listened to New York today just to kind of hear their reaction to everything that happened. And they're talking about Luis Cessa and how they're like, that's a really great move for the Reds. It's really awesome. And what was the other pitcher they got with him?
Wilson.
Yeah. Thank you. And that one, they didn't seem too sad about losing necessarily. I don't, and then of course today the deal with Michael Gibbons. I think all these things we've been hearing this whole offseason from Reds Twitter is, this is a team that's more than likely not going to do what they can to improve and get better. And as we saw, those last, in the last 24 hours, even they've kind of gotten some extra bullpen help. We talked about earlier in the show. It's time to see what's the next step is as far as improving the team. But we got to see two of these guys pitch tonight. I don't know if Michael Gibbons is even with the team yet. It's hard to know. But obviously, getting an inning each from those two guys was pretty exciting to see tonight. So.
Yeah, Sessa's stuff looked really good. I'm kind of excited to see
did.
him pitch some more. He looked good, attack the zone. His breaking balls look sharp. So that's exciting for sure.
Anyone who steps on the mound who looks like they belong is is good this year. Yeah, Sessa has really good numbers. Seems like a good pickup. I mean, I think Wilson's only pitched like 18 innings for the Yankees, so I wouldn't write him off. He has pretty good career numbers. Reds pitching coach Derek Johnson has had a little tiny bit of success with some guys who've been written off. The thing I liked most about that trade, though, was that the Reds didn't just get Sessa, is that they got Wilson, because getting Wilson was what got the Reds to make that trade with the player to be named later, which is probably going to be, no top prospect or anything like that. So that was, I think, the most encouraging thing, was that because the Reds could have went and got relievers without paying. Like when the Brewers got Willie Adames, he was on a league minimum contract, so they had to give up good assets to get him. Whereas, the Reds, they didn't mortgage their future to get these guys, and that they upgraded. So that's what I like about it.
I'm gonna pump up Wilson here because he was Detroit Tigers teammate with Nick. This was about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I know in relievers or pitchers terms that could be a very long time, but he was one of the best relievers there with Detroit. So I've seen him be very dominant. I've seen him have electric stuff. I know he doesn't have, good numbers here. I didn't know that he had only pitched 18 innings. So that's even more of a reason to be, excited to have him. I think that having Wilson is a win-win because A, he's a lefty, so it's good to have another lefty in the bullpen. And B, if he, can pitch anywhere close to what I've seen him pitch in Detroit, that's going to be a huge key for the bullpen. So when I had saw that we got Wilson, I was very excited without even knowing his numbers, just knowing him and having met him and knowing, how he is in the clubhouse. I don't know if you guys saw in the game feed, but as soon as Wilson was done, he came back into the dugout, was there chatting with Nick. Super good, locker room guy. He's been there, done that, and pitched in a bunch of different roles. He's closed before. He's been late inning guy before. He's been a setup guy before. So I think he's going to be a very good addition to the bullpen. Sessa, watching him today, this is my first time ever watching him. I don't really know much about him, but his numbers are great. His stuff looked good. And like you were saying, he looked very confident. So I'm very happy about that. And Givens, I think Trent from The Athletic, I think he had tweeted today that he would be joining the team today, but would not be active today. So I think he's probably just getting in today, and I think he's probably going to be ready to go tomorrow. But I really don't know much about Givens either, so I will let you guys know once I see him pitch.
Sessa got a shout out from Ocho Cinco tonight.
Yeah,
we're in the 85.
Oh, Sessa, yeah. That was fun. I saw that too.
Yeah, Chad Johnson sends us in a tweet saying, "Nicely done."
Yeah, I mean, Wilson from 2012 to 2020, every single year, there's not one bad year on here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking ERA. I'm talking the FIP, the XFIP, the xERA that started in 2015. I mean, every year is a above average pitcher. His expected ERA this year is 4.72. So that 7.5 is very much, that's 18 innings on the dot. So
why does he only have 18 innings?
I mean, probably because it wasn't super effective.
The Yankees weren't winning a lot of games this year.
I don't know if he was like hurt or
I don't know.
Back. Just wondering, and I want to see those. I'm going to look those numbers up too to see, I mean,
one of them was
ERA 18 innings is you have two.
Yeah, because
they
said in the that's what they said. Sadak said in the broadcast tonight. So the Yankees played against the Mets in July. Wow. And he had an outing where he had no outs recorded and gave up 5 earned runs. So
well, there you go.
Right.
That's why we don't just focus on ERA for 18 inning relievers. It's pretty silly. But yeah, I think he's certainly better than what the Reds had pitching the last inning last night. So you start there and you see what you got. Givens is has a really, really sparkling ERA. Some of the other stats kind of say he's probably more of a league average pitcher, but if that's all he is, sign me up. Like we'll take all the league average pitchers in the bullpen we can. I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, if you're having Sims and Antone and Lorenzen back and Sessa pitches like you want, when you start filling in your 5th, 6th, 7th
Santion.
Yeah, when you start filling, those are fine to have league average pitchers there. And I think Brad Brock is a fine pitcher. He just isn't your 8th inning guy. But I fully believe in Heath Hembry. I will say it here. I'll say it now. You don't accidentally strike out 14 and a half batters per 9 innings. He's legit. He's legit. So I'm all in on Hembry. Yeah, I mean, I think the Reds could turn around and have a nice bullpen. I don't think they have to I don't think they have to get another reliever. I prefer they get another starter or a shortstop before they get any more relievers, just because you could go get like a Taylor Rogers. That's been the guy talked about a lot. He's hurt right now. You could get him and he gets hurt again, and boom, there's your reliever that you spend a ton on, for 2 months. So I kind of like the way they got quality, but not the top end. If they had more.
Like you and I were talking about before we came on air too, the beauty about Sessa is you have him for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, his I think next year's his first arbitration season.
Yeah. Side note, Cubs starter tonight, Zach Davies, said on Joey gesturing the Cub dugout after his 2 home runs, he hit a ball out, that's on me, but if there's disrespect, that's an issue. What?
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Wait a minute. What?
Zach Davies was offended about Joey, I guess, pointing towards their dugout. I didn't really see anything like that, but
wait,
someone tagged me in this.
But pointing towards the Reds dugout is what he's talking about. Dugout. I don't want to hear any of that crap, man. Are you kidding me, Zach Davies?
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Are you kidding me? You should. Zach Davies should be happy that Votto even decided to go around the bases. He should have just dropped the bat and walked right to the dugout, honestly, and wore that suspension like a champ.
Did Baez get traded before that quote? Is he still a Cub?
Yeah.
Is he still on your team? I have no problem with what Baez did. It's
Same.
just it's this what he did's fine, and what Garrett did, I don't understand that at all. It's just nonsense.
I tell this to the Cubs because obviously I've been vocal about the bias thing and the suspensions and the inconsistency with MLB. And of course, Cubs fans are going to be coming at me because I have a lot of them following me, and a lot of them aren't happy with my take, but I'm trying to explain to them that it doesn't even really have anything to do with Baez. It doesn't have anything to do with the Cubs. They're basically just a Trojan horse for our anger with the MLB and their lack of and their inconsistency and their inability to lay out a framework that shows the teams around the league what's okay to do, what's not okay to do. And I'm sorry, I know I've said this multiple times, but in a world where Javi Baez can hop over the railing where he's not even involved in the play and charge over at Amir and literally tell him to fight, and that isn't a suspendable offense, but Nick sliding into home plate or Amir getting extra and celebrating a strikeout on the mound, I just don't understand how that makes sense. And when you hear players talk about emotion nowadays, because back then there wasn't a whole lot of emotion showed out on the field like this, but you hear players saying emotion is good, everything is good, but just make sure you're directing it at your dugout, at your team. It's a celebratory thing with your team. And Baez didn't even look at his team at all. He didn't even look at first base. He was just staring right at Amir the entire time and was making it personal. And I'm not even saying that you should suspend him for it. I'm okay with it just being a fine. But what I'm not okay with is the fact that the Reds players do that, and even to a lesser degree, and they continuously get suspended for it. So the anger is that the MLB they either are purposefully doing this or they're just so bad at trying to create a framework that's consistent that people in Cincinnati, they really have no other thing to think other than, I feel like MLB just really doesn't like us and they're out to get us and they don't really care about us and they don't treat us like these other markets or other teams that get this treatment, like the Cubs or the Padres with their stuff and the Dodgers. It's a little frustrating kind of looking at it from that perspective. And maybe, I'm just biased and because I'm a Reds fan, but I don't think so. I think we have enough of an argument to say that this is a little bit ridiculous with kind of how MLB has decided to handle this with their suspensions.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about that bias thing alone is he threw the bat and it went towards him. I know it didn't like hit his feet or anything, but it was pretty close. Like, you can't do that shit. Like, you get suspended for that. You can't walk like that and yell and then throw a bat and then everything's cool. Like, how did the Cubs get a pass? It's unreal.
So do you think that if Amir decided not to, have restraint, and if Amir decided to go right at Baez, do you think Baez would have been suspended?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Mirror got suspended more, I'm sure, somehow.
Yeah.
Like, he probably would have been suspended the rest of the year. But yeah, they're basing it completely on the reaction. And take Amir aside, because some of Amir's antics are probably a little bit over the top. Let's just focus on your brother and Baez. That's the most insane part of this, because your brother literally, there was no intentions there. Like, Baez came to the plate with the intentions of trying to piss off Garrett and to get a reaction out of him. Like, your brother just reacted and he walked away and put his hands behind his back.
Behind his back.
Yachty's the one that grabbed him. Like,
yeah, you're not even sure that the benches would have cleared if Yachty didn't react the way that he did.
Exactly.
Because Nick was walking away. But I've had plenty of Cubs fans or just troll accounts, I can't really tell yet at this point, telling me that I'm a hypocrite. No, they're not the same. They're not the same. Telling me that God, you made me lose my train of thought. Telling me that what Baez did and what Nick did, that I'm hypocritical for being upset with what Baez did because Nick did the same thing. And I'm sorry, but Nick would absolutely never, ever, ever, ever do that, what Baez did. He would never make it kind of about himself in that moment. He would never go out of his way to try to make somebody feel extremely disrespected. And to be honest, I was even a little shocked at kind of how Nick did the sliding at home plate. Not that it was bad, but that kind of like emotion and whatnot in that moment, I don't really see that from Nick all that much. And when you take it, with the whole picture, how he had gotten hit and when he had talked about it afterward, Nick had said that, when he was on first and he was upset about getting hit, all he wanted to do was do his best to score so he can raise that ERA, that pitcher's ERA. So when he was upset with the pitcher, instead of being mad at the pitcher and charging the mound, he played the game as hard as he could to try to get back at them within the game. And isn't that kind of the way you want it? Isn't that how you want players to go about it? You could be upset with kind of his flex over Woodford, but I would also say that those are the kinds of like raw in the moment, very brief emotions that the sport could use. And you also need to look at what Nick did afterward, like Nick Kirby was saying, how he walked off. He was calm. He spoke. Yachty had just grabbed his neck and he was talking to him man to man. He wasn't trying to fight anybody. And for MLB to then go ahead and suspend him for that, when you can see that the intent of what Baez did was just so different. I don't want to say that MLB is doing it on purpose because I don't think they are, but somebody needs to go to their office and say, what are you guys trying to do? Because whatever you're trying to do is not working. It's not.
Not to mention that they put it in a promo.
Yeah. How awesome would it be if there was somebody to answer questions about it?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, they should have to explain themselves. I feel like Joe Torre, when he was responsible for that, even though I didn't agree with everything he did, I feel like he would at least do an interview and like explain some of the stuff. Yeah, I think that's a great point. One thing real quick, those 2 games that Nick was suspended mattered. The Reds lost 5-4, and then they lost a 10-inning game, those 2 games. So like that could cost the Reds their season, like it's not some joke. It's not some like, oh, he got suspended 2 games, whatever. I mean, that mattered.
And when that happened, because when Nick had gotten suspended, I had went on an entire rant about how ridiculous it was. Like, think of the precedent you're setting, which is what I was upset about, because now we're getting into this point where obviously that precedent's not going to be set, but it's also frustrating because not only did they suspend Nick, but they also suspend Amir, and then they refuse to suspend other players who do similar things. And 162 game season is a lot of games, but every single game matters. And I had said when Nick had got suspended that I'm upset because this isn't a joke. Every single game matters. Every single game is important. And if you want to try to be where you want to be at the end of the year, you need to have all of your guys available whenever you can, playing at all times.
Yeah, I'm with it. So, Ryan, I got to ask, because obviously with your brother being who he is, there's a lot of different things that pop up. So what are you asked about more? I'm curious. Is it the deep fly ball to left field, or is it the flip phone?
I hear about both of them a lot. I would say the deep fly to left is something that I get in passing a lot. No matter where I go in baseball Twitter, there's always somebody saying something somewhere about Nick and his deep fly ball to left home run. And it can literally be anything. Like somebody's talking about, somebody had, a tough death in the family. Oh, well, Nick's up to bat. He's about to hit a home run. Or if Nick was playing baseball in September in 2011, he would have had 35 home runs. Or it's just those things, that reach of where that can go is unlimited. So I get that all the time. As far as the flip phone, yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny that he has a flip phone all while being kind of like the face of like baseball meme Twitter, and he doesn't even have a Twitter. I think that in and of itself is its own meme. But people do ask me about it. People have even said that Nick has inspired them to kind of think about making that own change in their own lives. So, yeah, I mean, it's just funny, all the different things, especially with Liam in his shirt, all the different things that Nick had done that wasn't even intentional, that ended up being these phenomenon, whether it's a meme or the shirt or, the phone with the trend and all that. It's just a cool ride, and it's funny. It really doesn't get old seeing all of these things just come up again and again and again. I absolutely love it, especially since I'm heavy on Twitter, so I see it all the time.
I think the actual, the whole Woodford slide and, that kind of like brought the baseball world together to be like Castellanos fans, like to everything he does, they, bump it up a little bit, no matter what it is, just because they're like, fuck, we all would have reacted the same way. We got drilled and then we go slide at home and get a knee to our back. But we scored a run. We would all do the same exact thing, I would think. And I mean, I think that's, the baseball world knew it was kind of shitty on what the MLB, suspending him and stuff like that was.
Yeah. And I mean, it does suck in terms of, the like playing, as I was saying before, every game is important. So it does suck that he missed those 2 games. But the fact that MLB suspended Nick, as far as his national attention and outreach, that was very beneficial for him in terms of becoming more of a household name, because everybody was on his side in terms of how bullcrap that suspension was. Yeah. So after that whole scene with Woodford in the beginning of the year, and then he got suspended, and then he went out and said in his exit interview, I slid, I said, let's go. And I walked out. Like, that was epic. And that whole kind of moment with him, and then the suspension, and then the whole baseball community as a whole of fans from every team, not only reaching out to me, but just, putting out into the, Twitter space that they're all hashtag free Castellanos, we're all with Nick here. That was really, really cool to see. Honestly, not, just to be honest with you guys, that was really
Sure.
cool to see.
I can imagine.
But yeah, that is also something that I think really set the tone for the season, for the team. It wasn't just the slide. I think the thing that set the tone more so was his interview at the end when he's saying that I'm here to win. I'm not trying to start the season 0 for 2. I've lost my whole career and I'm here to win. When you're a young team or a young player hearing a more established older player say things like that, it basically forces you to get put into this mindset of, oh my goodness, we need to get this done. Like one of our veteran guys is up here saying that it's game 3 of the season or game 2 of the season, and I'm going to play balls to the wall because every game matters. Those are the kinds of things that you need to be showing younger players to kind of get them acclimated into the big leagues and kind of start telling them what's important. It's not really about your own personal stats. It's about what you can do for the team today to try to help them to win.
I always love when he gets the post-game interview with Jim Day, because you're going to get some good soundbite. But also, like you said, just having the teams back, the last series before the All-Star break in Milwaukee, I think literally the last game, he goes on there, he's like, yeah, there was these guys on TV talking shit about our bullpen, and like karma has a way to get you in this sport. And I'm like, my dude.
Yeah. I know who that was, but I'm not telling you guys.
Yeah, I'm not asking.
Oh,
I
I have suspicions.
Yeah,
it's okay.
We did get a couple questions. I want to make sure we get to. The first one was, what do you guys think about Luis Castillo's incredible turnaround? Well, I told you so. I don't know. I guess.
we've been telling you guys all year.
No, that's a
Told
good
you so.
question. Yeah, I mean he's
a great
been
question.
incredible. Starts tomorrow. Today actually, and today for probably most people listening on the podcast. Big start for Luis, going up against Mills, a chance to win 3 or 4 in Chicago. That's big. Really send the Cubs out on a nice
Farewell parting gift.
Yeah, give him a good farewell party.
Tell Chris enjoy San Francisco.
Send him to the AL. Send him to the AL.
Yeah, we
Get
don't need
the
him
American
going out
League.
west.
All the American League teams. Let's go.
So Nick, I have a question for you because people in my chat were bringing you up and talking about you a little bit in Twitch chat. How do you stay so positive all the time on Twitter?
No, it's easy. The Reds have sucked for my entire life. Like, come on. Like, I witnessed some of the worst seasons, like 2016. Like, come on. The Reds are above 500 and it's almost August. Like, I don't know. It's just when you've been a fan of a team that has been bad. Like, I mean, the Reds have, I think, like 9 winning seasons. I'm 34. Like, like, I don't know. I mean, I can let a lot of things slide when they're, when they're good. And honestly, for the most part, I like the direction that the front office is in. The Reds for a long time were kind of like this anti-analytical team. They had guys that were like 310 on base guys batting first and second, and they've completely flipped. They've completely, flipped a lot of their thinking. So from my perspective, I think they're doing most things the right way. There's still things I don't agree with, but for the most part, they've changed, they've overhauled their pitching development. There's so many things to like about what the Reds are doing. But that on top of, I mean, just they're both like, if you can't enjoy this, why are you a fan of the team? Like, that's what I don't.
Yeah. And regardless of their record, I mean, of course, the record is really all that matters, but the team is very fun to watch.
They are.
I mean, the whole lineup can do anything exciting at any point. Everybody in the lineup, even Kyle Farmer, has
I
has,
like Kyle. I like
I
Kyle.
know. I'm just messing around.
I said Kyle Farmer should be the shortstop in April. I don't want to. I hope I don't like come across as hating. I really, really like.
No, I know. I'm just playing. But yeah, I agree with you. Trevor Story would be an upgrade. I was just saying, if you were asking me in terms of
Sure.
the value of what we would have to give up and kind of I think a fifth starter would be where I would go, or a top end starter that could push one of our other starters a little bit back.
I think Max Scherzer would get mad if we call him a fifth starter.
Max Scherzer is not a fifth starter. Dude is a number one starter. That guy's intensity is insane.
Oh,
Is
crazy!
he above Wade Miley though? I mean,
Wade Miley would tell you that Max Scherzer is above him. Okay, that guy is. I've been around him a little bit when Nick was with him in Detroit. That guy's competitiveness is so off the charts that he basically wills himself. Obviously, his stuff is great, but those videos of the manager coming out to take him out, which has happened multiple times, and him just pacing around the mound, like storming around the field like a starving dog salivating at the mouth, and then just looking the manager like in the eye, like telling him like, this is mine. I want this. This is mine. Like that kind of stuff fires me up, and it makes me love him so much. So if we got Scherzer, I don't even care about his numbers right now. I don't even know what his numbers are right now. I don't know what his velo is. I don't know about his health. I just know that I want that guy on my team. So if that's somebody we can get, I am all for it, even if we have to sit Kyle Farmer because of it.
Let's go ahead. The Reds aren't getting Max Scherzer. I don't want anyone to get their hopes up. It's not happening.
Hey, you're supposed to be the positive guy, Nick.
I'm not that
Crushing our dreams.
Well, I think everything I read was he wants to go West Coast. Like they were like, he doesn't even want to play for the Yankees. Like
I heard Dodgers and Padres maybe.
I can see that. Carlos played for the Padres, so if you see his face get excited, that's.
Did Gallo get traded to the Yankees?
He did.
Yeah.
You guys excited to see a beardless Gallo?
It's gonna be weird.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. You remember Smooth Net Odor?
Yeah.
He looks so strange with no beard.
I thought Garrett Cole looked pretty weird.
Yeah.
Without the beard. I don't know. The first time he did like a press conference, like, whoa, like
the weirdest will forever always be Johnny Damon going from his like full hair.
Oh
in Boston.
yeah.
That was
that's
just
a
like
good call.
Yeah,
that'd be like Charlie Blackmon having to get rid of his.
We did get one other question. Actually, we might have some more popping in, so we'll try to get to him here. And I know it's well past Tim's bedtime.
I'm hanging. I have my 10 p.m. coffee.
You're a trooper, Tim. You're a trooper.
I know.
The question was, we credit Johnson for getting the best out of the pitchers. Is the hitting coach accountable for the lack of progress regression for Eugenio's?
Absolutely, 100,000% not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
That's a silly question. Not a silly question, but like.
Thanks for watching.
No, not a silly question. That's the wrong thing to say, but yeah, no, that's.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, you can. I don't think there's anyone to blame for it. It's just it's one of these things. You know the guy's trying. I mean, he puts in the work.
He cares. Yeah.
It sucks. It just sucks. I hope he turns it around. But it just sucks. I don't. And look at the Reds' overall offensive production. I mean, you have to like Nick Castellanos, he took a big leap from last year to this year. Jonathan India looks pretty good. Tyler Stevenson looks pretty good. The Reds have had a lot of guys that have taken leaps. So I don't know. I don't think you just single out, one guy. I think you have to look at.
I mean, even with pitchers, like you don't get missed with a whole lot whenever you're in 4A. Like, they're there to basically do it, kind of like coddle you and, hey, maybe you can try this, maybe you can try that, but they're not changing you up 100% unless you're somebody who's, maybe like a waiver wire claim. Hey, let's try and, figure this out or do this or do that. But somebody established like, like a Eugenio, they can give him like little ideas that might help him, like that might like trigger his mindset or something like that. But I mean, he knows how to hit. He knows what he needs to do. He knows his body. He knows he's seen the video. He knows what he's doing wrong. And it's a process, and it sucks right now, the stage that he's in.
Hey, you got a home run yesterday and a double off the wall today.
Yeah.
He loves Wrigley.
I'm just
Wrigley.
I'm just trying to take the Nick Kirby, route here and be a little optimistic.
I think
Good
we
vibes
all are.
only.
I think we all are with Gino.
Yeah.
I get pissed whenever people start talking shit about him on Twitter.
Yeah,
That's how
it's
it goes with Cincinnati sports fans, man.
I don't know. Like I have no problem like criticizing and
Right.
if you want to boo players like if they're not hustling or they come. Does anyone think there's anyone on the Reds that this year isn't trying? Like,
Right.
I mean, this seems like a team that has overachieved in terms of like their effort, like, so yeah. We still got questions rolling in.
Like after, Joey's home runs, he's like, does his little dance with him, but he gives him a little pat on the back, like, hey, let's go. Let's have a good AB. That's what he's telling them. Like everybody's rooting for him. Everybody who's there at the game is rooting for him. He's got a huge fan base. Like come on, Gino.
Everybody loves Gino, man. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know about everyone. I haven't seen my mentions.
Well, even the people that are upset with his performance, they love Gino and they want to love Gino. And I don't know. I mean it really because Nick had played with him before in Detroit only for a year. So he had some past experience with him. He knows that Gino's an awesome dude. Just a very nice guy, and he's had a ton of success in the past, obviously. So it just kind of stinks to watch, to watch him struggle. But even then, I will say that what is he hitting 175 or something at this point?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a productive 175. I mean, he has his 18 or 19 home runs. I don't know how many RBIs he has. I know he would tell you himself that he needs to be playing way better. But in today's game, unfortunately, there are spots in a lineup for players like that.
Yeah, I was going to reiterate your point earlier. 175 this year in 2014 is like 223, like kind of that range. So
yeah, I mean, it's not good. And his defense hasn't been good either. So, but I don't know. I mean, some of the StatCast numbers say he's not like a giant leap away. He's just more of a big step, Yeah. You guys want to get a couple more questions here? They're 1:01 a.m. and they're flying in. Love you guys. That's awesome. Kind of an interesting question. I don't know if you guys all have any input on this, but a question that may not relate directly to the Reds, but does the Nationals' COVID outbreak complicate things in terms of making a trade?
Well, can Trey Turner travel to meet us in New York?
I think if the Reds were interested in Trey Turner,
I don't think it's going to have any effect on a trade.
Yeah, I think the Reds would wait 10 or 15 days for Trey Turner if they were going to pull the trigger on that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if the Reds were interested in a relief pitcher from the Nationals, then maybe it could change, things up. The Reds obviously, they used the two relievers they got at midnight last night, last night, whatever days. Yeah.
I saw that Sessa in his presser said that Roldy was going to get him in touch with some people to kind of get him situated here in Cincy.
That's cool.
I like it.
Thoughts on where Matt McClain and Jose Barrio play in the infield in a few years? I mean, I think Barrio would be the shortstop, and I think Matt McClain's like a shortstop that would be better at another position from what my untrained, minor league scout has read.
Yeah, that's a Doug Gray question. I got to ask Doug that one.
I try to stay out of that. And then kind of lastly, and we'll let Tim, if you want to, whatever else, we'll call it here, guys, on the questions. I already know your opinion up here. How does everyone else feel about Jose Barrio coming up this year as a possibility for the Reds if they don't obtain a shortstop?
I mean, I think it would be a good move. It's going to give more depth. I mean, depth isn't a bad thing. I mean, Kyle Farmer's still balling like he is. It's Kyle Farmer's job, and we got somebody on the bench. But if he starts struggling, then there's Barrio, and he's sitting well. Hopefully, he can keep going. But I mean, options. It's something you've always preached, Nick. You can't have too many good hitters, too many good position players. You can't have too many good pitchers. So bring him up, baby.
Yeah, he's major league ready defensively at least. So, anything he gives you on the bat is a plus.
Yeah, I think you would. If they don't get a shortstop, I think you would I would keep him in AAA until you feel like you need an upgrade for Farmer. I'd ride Farmer out as long as you can, and you want him to keep getting 4 at bats a night. You don't want Barrio coming up and just sitting on the bench. Now, if we start getting into late August and Farmer's still raking, then yeah, maybe you just call him up and he can be the backup. But I think right now at this time, you'd want him to keep getting the at bats.
Is there any reason like service time why they wouldn't? Like, is there anything that's going to benefit? I don't know.
Not really, because the Reds called him up last year. That wouldn't have anything to do with it. I would just assume you'd want him. You don't want him coming up and playing once or twice a week. Right. You want him playing every day in Louisville until you feel like he's going to at least be getting 3, 4, 5 starts a week.
Well, what about September when the rosters expand, especially if we haven't picked up a new shortstop? I don't see why we wouldn't bring him around, especially since he's already kind of been here before. Just adding that depth a little bit. I believe the minor league season ends early September or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Late August. So if he's not playing ball and we have expanded rosters, I don't see why he wouldn't be at least somebody that they would bring on for depth reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's only 3 players though this year on the expand. I think it's only maybe only 2. Maybe I think it's 28. So it might only be that's only 2 more players, right?
I thought it was 25 to 30, 32 or something.
Oh, I don't know. I know it was cut down drastically. It's not 40 anymore.
Yeah, not only that.
Oh, it used to be 40. You're right. Wow.
Louisville's definitely not making the playoffs in the international
because everybody couldn't fit in those small Cub dugouts and the Red Sox little dugouts. You got to give everybody a high five. It takes you forever after you hit a home run.
Yeah,
it got too crowded in the post game showers. Somebody complained.
Oh, yeah.
It's only 28.
Seniority.
28.
28 is the
28.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's. You would want him. I would say if you get into maybe even the 3rd week of August, and Farmer's still just running, they probably call him up there. You're close enough to the end of the season. You've got him enough at bats. I just don't think I would call him up, tomorrow, because he's not going to play enough. I don't think to justify it. And I know people are going to say play Kyle Farmer at third base. It's Mike Moustakas or Nick Senzel's the only person I'm taking Suarez out of the lineup for. That's my opinion. I know people, might feel different. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a easier pill to swallow for Suarez if he's getting replaced for, someone like that.
Yeah, I agree. But
what else you got?
That all the questions we got?
I think that was it. We got Reds have a thin bench, so who would make the most sense to add? So it would make the most sense to add a bat in September. I don't know if the Reds have a thin bench. They just have a weird bench. They have a lot of the same pieces.
Oh yeah, Alex Blandino just started his rehab assignment. So how does he factor in Senzel? We talked about TJ Friedel a little bit last week. I don't think he's on the 40-man where he can be called up, but I'm sure it's a name people are monitoring.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, they better get him up to AAA. Is he at AAA?
He's at AAA now.
He
I thought he
has 2 home runs.
Yeah, he's not spectacular, but he had a stretch where he had a couple nice hits, and people were like, "What about TJ Friedel?"
Yeah.
You got to have elite on base percentage. If you don't have power, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. I hate to be
Who's pitching tomorrow for the Cubs?
Alec Mills.
Ooh, right-hander.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joey hits
and a
Joey
day
hits
game.
another one
Ball
tomorrow.
flies over there. Oh,
That's definitely a guy that Joey could get one.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen any reports on Nick Ryan. How's he feeling? Like morale? Not. I don't need like a update when he's coming back, but like, how's he feeling? Is he feeling okay morale wise and stuff like that?
He's as far as morale and how he's doing, like in his head, he's anxious, man. He doesn't like sitting. He doesn't like not playing. He doesn't like watching. I feel like that's kind of why he's kind of been would preferably not be a DH, because he doesn't like sitting in the dugout just kind of watching. He likes being out and involved at all times. So that part is the toughest part of not playing. As far as how he's feeling physically, he told me that he is feeling a lot better since he got to Chicago. He's been doing, some. It was hurting when he would sprint, because obviously with the microfracture here, just the act of moving your arm up and down to run, he couldn't do that for a little bit. Now he said it's starting to loosen up a little bit where he can do that with almost no pain. But he still is having some, tenderness after the fact, after doing like his little workouts or whatever. He is still working out. I think he's doing very, very limited upper body stuff. I know there was the video of him out there shagging fly balls in Chicago, which is good. So I think it's close. It's not anything that we know for sure just yet. But it's definitely improving. But the thing about that is that it's because it's a microfracture, and because it is actual, like some bone damage. There's only so fast that those things can kind of, get covered and healed up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when we had initially thought that it was just like a, like a bone bruise and a pain tolerance thing, that's when you saw him trying to like, push it and try to, get through it. So just to reiterate, you guys, Nick hit a ball to the warning track with a fractured wrist, which is absolutely insane.
I wonder how that felt.
He told me it felt terrible.
And even like whenever you barrel it up or hit on the barrel, it takes away the sting of the ball. Like, could you imagine if he would have got sawed off or something? Holy crap.
It's crazy too, because he said he barreled it up really good. So could you guys imagine if he had hit a home run there and then there was a report the next day that he had a fractured wrist? So like he cut.
Add to the legend.
Yeah, dude, that would have been insane.
Yeah.
But
it's his right wrist, right?
Yeah, his right wrist. Yeah.
So we might start getting like a little parrot home run shot, like in front of us going.
Edwin.
It's like the Punisher, but just a little different.
Just running like this around the bases.
Is he Coco Beware?
But we're hoping it can be soon, man, because he really wants to play.
Yeah.
But
I hope it's sooner than later too, so he doesn't have to do like a rehab stint, and that would suck.
I don't think he will. I mean, because he's been with the team the entire time. It's not like he's been not traveling and not doing stuff with the team. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where he wants to come back, but you also don't want to be back if you're feeling like you have to change how you swing, or if you feel like you can't, do this a certain way, and then you got to start changing certain things, because that's when you could start, because Nick's on such a good run right now. He's been so consistent with this swing all year. In seasons past, I see him always tweaking his swing and tweaking his stance, and doing one thing for a couple months, doing something else for a couple months. This year, he's been the same hitter the entire year. And he's really found that consistency in his stride. So I wouldn't want him to go out and play when he feels like he can't be himself. But also I understand the urgency of, the limited games left. So it's just trying to get his wrist as close to what feels like a usable like 100%, and then he'll be good to go.
Yeah. When is the actual 10-day up?
I think it's coming up soon. I think it's the end of this week, but I'm not 100% sure because they retroactively placed him. It wasn't even on the day that he got his hit that he got the at bat. I think they actually put it in for like a day or two after that.
It had to have been after his last AB.
I'm not sure the day that
pinch
they
hit.
put it. Yeah. If it was the 10-day DL and that was last week on Monday, it should be coming up by the end of this week.
Yeah.
But I'm also not sure about when he's going. I don't think that he's going to be available tomorrow or the day after. But I do think that it's going to be soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Is there any risk of re-injuring it or not re-injuring, I mean, making it worse?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not qualified to answer that. But there wasn't any other damages that they saw. I mean, in order to see the damages that they did see, it required a CT scan, which is way more in depth than even the MRI or the regular X-ray, obviously. So he has no ligament damage. He did have pain and swelling and stiffness throughout all of his fingers, but that was because this area that he got hit, there's not a lot of meat or muscle or anything. It's all just kind of bone and skin and ligament. So when you get hit here, all the swelling goes right into the joints and it kind of stiffens everything up. So everything he's been saying that it's feeling localized now. So that the kind of swelling, into the rest of the area of the arm isn't really there anymore. It's more of just kind of a very specific localized pain. So I don't think there will be risk of other injury, but you still would want it to be, because remember, he also needs to throw. He was struggling throwing, past 90 feet when he was trying to rush to get back before we had saw that there was actually any structural damage. But I don't think that that's something that you could risk re-injuring, just because, it's not like he has pins in there, didn't need surgery. And there wasn't anything that needed to be kind of shifted around. So I think it's just the bone itself just kind of I don't know, healing itself a little bit. I don't know, what do bones do? They put like a callus in there and then kind of like get over it. You guys ever break a bone? They kind of like the bone gets covered or something. Yeah. And it's a microfracture, remember, so it's not that entire process needed with like a regular break.
Yeah.
Just know that Nick is so anxious to get in that when he can get in, he'll play. I mean,
sure.
he even played with a broken wrist, so he will get in as soon as he can. But it's that balance of being in and feeling like you're healthy enough to be able to provide for the team, the way that that you can. And it could be, a detriment to him if he were to go in before he felt like he was ready, because you want him to feel the way he has been feeling in order to produce the way that he's been producing.
Yeah, Nick's a gamer. I think we all,
Yeah,
we all recognize that.
Yeah,
I'm sure his agent says you better not go in there before you're 100%.
Scott,
Especially knowing who his agent is.
Wait, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I missed the first question. I'm sorry. What about?
No,
Scott?
I said Scott's probably telling Nick, don't you dare go in there before you're 100%.
I really don't know what Scott and Nick talk about, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not
just
in that
teasing.
room.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I just want him to feel like he can go up there and hit. I mean, I don't want him to be up there hitting if you feel like he has to swing with one hand. So
Yeah.
He's been saying he's been feeling better, so I'm sure that it's close. I mean, oh man, the injured list stint is about to be up. The amount of days that he got put on, the 10 days, is about to be up. So I'm sure we'll be getting at least an official announcement or evaluation soon, either from Bell or somebody else. And yeah, I'm really hoping, I mean, if he's not ready to go by August 12th, when they come here for the Braves series, I'm going to be very upset because I'll be there. And if he's not playing, I'm going to be very pissed. But
just throw the jersey on and go jog out to right field. Nobody will know.
Yeah, I'm my Twitch streamers would like this, but I'm the wish.com Castellanos when it comes to playing right field and hitting. So if you guys wanted me to pitch, I could do that. But I don't know about fielding. Hitting might work, but fielding would be atrocious.
Yeah, I went to go to my old college here in town, and batting practice. I went up there. I was like, "Oh, let me grab a glove. Let me go shag a couple." First fly ball that was hit to me, I missed by like 10 feet. I was like, "Oh shit!"
You were a pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the good old days of the BP shagging? That's when I would get all my running in, because we would play 500 with all the other teammates.
Oh yeah. Then you got the pitching coach yelling at you to quit running after every damn ball.
or the actual outfielders being upset for you calling them off.
Yeah. So Rawlings would give us 2 gloves a year. One would be a pitching glove and one would be an outfielder's glove.
You got an outfielder's glove?
Yeah, because Rawlings would give us, you get 2 gloves a year. So I'd get one for a pitching glove that I would use like to play catch with, which would be my next year's glove, gamer. And then I would have my other one be an outfielder's glove.
But you were a major leaguer, right?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was just a minor leaguer, so we didn't get any of that stuff.
I didn't get anything. So.
Me neither.
I'll send you a glove, Nick.
Oh.
I love how you would just yeah.
Oh, man.
We're all here for the free shit. That's all we're here for. So.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, man, this was awesome to have you on. Really enjoyed getting a chance to kind of talk some baseball with you and shoot the shit. So before we get out of here, obviously we'll give you the floor to shout out your Twitch stream, your social medias, anything where people can interact with you. By all means, man, take a moment.
All right. Well, I'm sure you guys have seen me on Twitter. My name's Ryan_cast_ on Twitter. But more importantly, in my Twitter bio will be my Twitch link. That's twitch.tv/parkballers with a Z. That name came out because of my momentary dyslexia, and nobody wanted to correct me on the name. So it became Park Ballers. I had to come up with a name that fit the acronym. And in my stream, we watched I don't have any of the, the audio or the video from the game for copyright reasons, but everybody in there is watching the Reds game, and we're all interacting with each other. And I've kind of built like my own little community there where as soon as I sign on, I have the same, so many people show up and how are you doing? How's everybody doing? And it's so positive in there, which is such, a difference than what you see on Twitter, where if we're winning, of course, everything is great and everybody's going good. Everybody's always making crazy predictions and we're calling them out and all that. And when we're losing, instead of being negative and all that stuff, we just start talking about anything, whether, whether it's Pokemon, which comes up a lot, certain video games, food, Skyline Chili, movies, just it really is just kind of a cool way to, watch the game and kind of connect with the whole group of people through the Twitch community. So if you're interested in anything like that, you can come check out my stream. If you do follow me on Twitter, I usually post about a couple hours before I go live. That's not my job or anything right now. So I'm kind of, just whenever I do have the time available, I'll plan a stream and do it. I may be going live tomorrow if you guys wanted to do that, but I won't know for sure until I get home and see what time it is. So just stay tuned. And if you guys do come, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap up this week's edition of Late Night Reds Talk Live. Like we are every Wednesday on the YouTubes, Nick, Carlos, myself, We like to come here and obviously talk. But if you can't check the live stream, by all means, we're on everything: Apple, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, you name it, wherever you check out your podcasts. Late Night Reds Talk Live is there. Everyone, thank you again so much. Had a ton of fun. Have a great night.
Thank you.